Every success story begins long before the world ever hears about it. Behind every achievement that looks effortless lies a silent struggle built on consistency. It's not luck, it's not timing, it's the daily decision to keep showing up even when progress seems invisible. The truth that most people don't want to accept is this: success is never a sudden event. It's the result of quiet persistence practiced day after day in moments when no one is watching and no one is clapping. Success is simply the natural outcome of consistency. The person who shows up every day will always outrun the one who shows up only when it's convenient. Consistency is not a talent, it's a discipline. It's not about being perfect, it's about refusing to give up. Every time you decide to stay on the path, even when it's hard, even when it's slow, you are building something powerful inside you. Each act of discipline strengthens your belief in yourself. Each small effort compounds like drops of water wearing down stone. The effects are not instant, and that's why most people fail to see the power of consistency. They give up too early, right before the invisible work starts to show visible results. They expect success to come fast, but real success has patience. It rewards those who keep working when nothing seems to be working. The truth is, consistency is the great equalizer. It doesn't matter where you start, how many times you've failed, or how little you know. If you stay consistent, life has no choice but to open doors for you. The universe operates on law, not luck. And one of its greatest laws is that consistent energy always creates consistent results. Those who understand this stop chasing shortcuts. They stop waiting for motivation. They realize that progress comes from commitment, not emotion. You can feel tired, uninspired, or uncertain, but as long as you stay consistent, you're still moving forward. Think of it like the rhythm of a heartbeat, steady, unwavering, persistent. That rhythm gives life. In the same way, consistency gives life to your goals. Every small effort adds oxygen to your dreams. Every day you push through resistance, you strengthen your inner power. Success doesn't need you to be extraordinary, it needs you to be consistent. The world often mistakes intensity for strength, but the real strength lies in endurance. Anyone can work hard for a day, a week, or even a month, but few can stay committed for years. Those few eventually rise, not because they are special, but because they didn't stop. Consistency is the quiet force behind transformation. It turns fear into confidence, doubt into belief, and effort into mastery. Every single repetition, every small disciplined action sends a message to your subconscious mind: I am in control. Over time, this belief becomes unshakable. The person who once struggled now moves with certainty. The habits that were once difficult now feel natural. What changed? Not talent, not luck. Consist. NCY changed everything. It's easy to be motivated when results are visible. It's harder to stay consistent when nothing seems to move. But that is the exact moment when most breakthroughs are being built. Success doesn't happen when you finally arrive. It happens in the process of not quitting. The days that test your patience are the days that shape your power. The nights you want to give up are the nights that prepare you for greatness. Consistency is not just what you do, it's who you become through the repetition of effort. So if you ever wonder what separates those who make it from those who don't, remember this: it's not brilliance, luck, or timing. It's the courage to stay consistent when progress is slow, when results are hidden, and when the world is silent. Because in that silence, something extraordinary is being built, your future. Success doesn't come to those who wait. It comes to those who show up again and again until there is no other possible outcome but victory. Every great success story is written one small, repeated action at a time. The world often glorifies the finish line, but what truly builds success is what happens quietly in the background. The small efforts no one celebrates. Every time you take one more step, one more repetition, one more disciplined choice, you are writing another line in that story. The greatest mistake most people make is underestimating the power of small, consistent actions. They want big results instantly, but success never comes in explosions. It grows in layers. The strongest foundations are laid brick by brick, day by day, through the quiet repetition of effort. Each action, no matter how small, carries energy. When repeated over time, that energy compounds. What feels insignificant today becomes unstoppable tomorrow. This is how mastery is born. A small improvement done every day reshapes the mind, sharpens focus, and builds momentum. It may not look like progress, but underneath the surface, something is changing. Your habits, your mindset, your confidence. Every time you act with discipline, you strengthen your mental muscles. You start believing more in your ability to follow through, and that belief becomes the seed of greatness. Consistency has a psychological power that few truly understand. The human brain thrives on repetition. It learns through patterns. The more you repeat something, the deeper it imprints into your subconscious. When you consistently practice a skill, work toward a goal, or show up for your dream, you're training your mind to operate on autopilot toward success. You stop fighting resistance because your brain begins to expect effort as normal. What once felt difficult becomes part of your nature. The mind no longer asks whether you can do it. It simply does it because it has learned through repetition that this is who you are. That's why small, repeated actions matter far more than bursts of effort. Anyone can be disciplined for a short time, but the one who endures daily is the one who transforms. Success rewards rhythm, not speed. You can't rush the process because it's not just about achieving something external. It's about becoming someone internally. Every small, repeated effort shapes your identity. Over time, you start seeing yourself differently. You stop identifying as someone who tries, and you start seeing yourself as someone who commits. That identity shift is what keeps you going when results are invisible. The truth is, every step counts, even when you don't notice it. Every small action builds invisible momentum. Like a snowball rolling downhill, those small movements gather force until they become unstoppable. This is why it's dangerous to quit early. Most people give up right before the compounding effect begins to show. They fail to understand that consistency doesn't just create results, it accelerates them. Once momentum builds, everything becomes easier. Effort feels lighter, progress feels faster, and the journey feels more natural. But to reach that stage, you must first commit to the grind of small, repeated actions when there's no applause, no validation, and no sign of progress. Greatness is never found in a single act. It's hidden in thousands of small ones. Every day you stay committed. Every time you repeat a positive action, you're programming success into your reality. It doesn't matter how slow it feels. What matters is that you're moving forward because every step, every repetition, every effort, no matter how small, is writing the future you dream of. And when you finally arrive, you'll realize it wasn't one big leap that got you there. It was every small, consistent step that you refused to skip. Motivation is a spark. It ignites passion for a moment, but it cannot sustain a fire for long. That's why so many people start strong but fade quickly. They rely on feelings to carry them forward, not realizing that feelings are temporary. Motivation can get you started, but only consistency will get you finished. The truth is, success doesn't depend on how motivated you feel. It depends on how disciplined you are when motivation disappears. Anyone can work hard on the days they feel inspired. The real test begins on the days when you don't. Those are the days that define you. Those are the days that separate those who wish from those who win. Consistency outperforms motivation because it doesn't depend on emotion. It depends on decision. Motivation asks, "What do I feel like it?" Consistency answers, "It doesn't matter." When you are consistent, act because of your purpose, not because of your mood. You've already decided who you want to become, and that decision guides every action. Even when you wake up tired, even when your mind resists, you still move. That's what discipline is. Doing what's required whether you feel ready or not. Feelings are fleeting, but discipline builds permanence. Motivation creates bursts of effort. Consistency creates a lifestyle of progress. Think about this. The most successful people in any field are not the ones who always feel inspired. They are the ones who've built a system that runs even when they don't. They've trained their minds to act automatically. They've learned that if you wait for motivation, you'll waste half your life waiting. The key is to move first, and the feeling will follow. Most people have it backward. They wait to feel inspired before acting, but inspiration often comes after you begin. Action fuels emotion, not the other way around. When you start doing, momentum takes over, and that momentum becomes your energy. The psychological truth is that your brain rewards consistency. Each time you follow through, you release a small dose of self-trust. That trust compounds over time, and it becomes the foundation of unstoppable confidence. On the other hand, when you depend on motivation and quit whenever you don't feel inspired, you teach your mind to doubt itself. You begin to believe that. Success requires the right mood, and that belief traps you. The only way out is through discipline, through acting when you least want to, because those are the moments that shape your strength. Each time you act without motivation, you remind yourself that you are in control. Consistency is the armor against the ups and downs of emotion. It doesn't care if you're tired, frustrated, or uninspired. It shows up anyway. And every time you do, you're building a pattern that makes quitting harder and perseverance easier. Over time, this becomes your default mode. You no longer need to think about showing up. You just do it. You've rewired your mind for action, not hesitation. That's the power of consistency. It turns effort into instinct. It transforms a spark into an eternal flame. So stop chasing motivation. It's unreliable, temporary, and emotional. Instead, build consistency. It's steady, lasting, and logical. Motivation makes you start. Consistency makes you unstoppable. Success is not about being excited all the time. It's about being committed all the time. Because when you stop depending on motivation and start depending on consistency, you unlock a power that never fades. That's the moment when you stop wishing for success and start becoming it. Every act of persistence begins in the mind. Before the body moves, before the action begins, there is a quiet decision deep within you, a decision to continue no matter what. This decision is psychological, not physical. It's the moment when you tell your mind it will not quit. That mental command rewires everything inside you. Your brain, your emotions, your focus, they all align with that single intent. The psychology of persistence is rooted in repetition and belief. Each time you persist through discomfort, you are teaching your subconscious that giving up is not an option. You are building a mental fortress brick by brick, and with each act of endurance, that fortress becomes stronger. The subconscious me, ND, learns through repetition. It doesn't respond to wishes, it responds to patterns. Every time you stay consistent, even when you feel weak, your mind records it as proof of your resilience. Eventually, it starts to expect success because it has seen you refuse to surrender. This is how confidence is built. It's not about feeling strong from the start. It's about acting strong until your mind accepts that strength as your new normal. The more you persist, the more your subconscious believes that you can handle anything. You no longer seek comfort because your mind has learned to find safety in challenge. Persistence also changes how you experience struggle. What once felt impossible begins to feel natural. The same resistance that used to drain you now fuels you. That's because persistence trains your emotional endurance. You stop reacting to difficulty as a threat and start seeing it as an opportunity to grow. When you face hardship repeatedly and refuse to give in, your mind adapts. It develops tolerance, toughness, and clarity. You begin to realize that obstacles are not there to stop you, they are there to shape you. Each challenge is a mirror showing you how powerful you have become. Over time, persistence creates a shift in identity. You no longer identify as someone who tries, you identify as someone who finishes. You stop doubting your ability to overcome because your history is full of proof. You've been tested and have endured. This is why persistence is so much more than hard work. It's self-transformation. It turns uncertainty into belief, effort into habit, and struggle into strength. It's a mental evolution that changes how you see yourself and what you believe is possible. When you persist long enough, you reach a point where the mind no longer fears failure. It has learned that failure is only feedback, a step toward mastery. Each setback becomes data, not defeat. You become emotionally unshakable because persistence has rewired your response to pressure. You stop seeing effort as pain and start seeing it as progress. This mental shift is what separates those who endure from those who escape. The persistent person doesn't need external motivation anymore. Their power comes from within, from a deep, unbreakable belief that no matter how many times they fall, they will always rise again. So when your mind tells you it's tired, remind it that persistence is your nature now. When the voice of doubt grows loud, silence it with action. Keep moving, keep showing up, keep proving to your subconscious that nothing can break your rhythm, because every act of persistence is a vote for the person you are becoming. And when you cast enough of those votes, success becomes inevitable. The mind that has learned persistence cannot fail. It simply finds another way forward. The most silent killer of success is not failure, it's boredom. Most people can handle challenges, setbacks, and even rejection, but very few can handle the slow, repetitive rhythm of consistency. They crave excitement. They want visible progress. They want every day to feel like a breakthrough. But real growth doesn't happen in moments of thrill. It happens in the monotony of repetition. The mind resists this truth because it loves stimulation. It craves newness. Yet mastery is built in the repetition of what seems ordinary. The secret to greatness lies in your ability to keep going when nothing feels exciting, when every day looks the same, and when results seem far away. Boredom is the point where most people stop, but it's also the point where transformation begins. When you keep showing up through boredom, you're rewiring your brain to obey your will, not your feelings. Every time you push through monotony, you strengthen your focus. You teach your mind that success doesn't depend on how interesting the process feels. It depends on how committed you are to completing it. The truth is, boredom is not a sign that something is wrong. It's a sign that you are on the verge of mastery. It means you've moved past the beginner's excitement and are now building real skill, real endurance, and real control. The human brain learns deeply through repetition. What feels dull is actually the stage where learning moves from conscious effort to subconscious habit. When you repeat something enough times, your brain creates neural pathways that make the task automatic. This is how greatness is formed, not through bursts of motivation, but through quiet, repetitive excellence. Every time you show up, even when you don't want to, you are solidifying those mental patterns that make success effortless later. The boredom you feel today is the investment that makes progress flow naturally tomorrow. But most people never reach that point because boredom tricks them into believing they're stuck. They mistake the absence of excitement for the absence of progress. They quit, not because they lack potential, but because they can't see the invisible changes happening within them. Growth is slow, subtle, and often silent. You won't always notice it in the moment, but it's happening. Every act of discipline, every day you choose to stay consistent through boredom, is reshaping who you are. It's building patience, control, and mental toughness, which are far more valuable than temporary motivation. When you learn to embrace boredom instead of running from it, you unlock one of the greatest psychological powers, focus. Distraction loses its hold on you. You stop chasing new things and start mastering what's in front of you. The same routine that once felt dull becomes sacred because you understand it's the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Every repetition, every hour, every small act done without excitement is quietly building your greatness. That's the paradox of success. It often feels boring while it's happening, but looks extraordinary once it's done. So when the days feel slow and uninspiring, remember, that is the process working. This is the part that separates the temporary from the timeless. Anyone can work when it feels exciting, but only the great continue when it feels dull. The moment you conquer boredom, you conquer yourself, and once you master yourself, there's nothing you can't achieve. Embrace the boredom, for it's not the enemy of success, it's the doorway to it. Every single day you remain consistent. You are laying down one more brick in the structure of your future. The process feels slow, almost invisible, but that's how true progress works, quietly, steadily, patiently. The discipline to do the same meaningful task again and again, even when there are no immediate results, creates a compounding effect. At first, it seems as though nothing is changing, but underneath the surface, momentum is building. Each small effort strengthens your foundation, adds to your skill, and refines your focus. Consistency multiplies your results the way time multiplies interest. The longer you stay committed, the greater the reward becomes. Most people underestimate this truth because they expect instant gratification. They want big results now, and when they don't see them, they stop. But success is never a single explosion. It's a slow build that becomes unstoppable with time. The power of compounding discipline lies in the way it quietly turns ordinary effort into extraordinary results. You may not notice the difference each day, But the universe notices. The law of accumulation never fails. Every small act of discipline, every extra step, every focused moment adds up. And suddenly the day comes when everything clicks. The strength you built through repetition reveals itself. The opportunities that once ignored you begin to appear. People start calling it a luck, but you know better. It's consistency finally showing its rewards. That's the beauty of compounding. You don't need to move mountains in one day. You only need to add a single stone every day. With time, those stones become unshakable walls of success. This is why consistency is more powerful than talent. Talent may open the first door, but only consistency keeps it open. Discipline compounds far beyond skill because it develops character. And character sustains success long after motivation fades. Each act of discipline shapes you into someone who no longer depends on external results to keep going. You work because it's who you are now. You've built momentum so strong that stopping feels unnatural. That's when success becomes inevitable, when your consistency turns into identity. Every single day you show up is a silent declaration that you're building something bigger than today's feelings or today's results. Keep stacking those bricks. One day you'll look back and realize that the castle you dreamed of was built by your hands, one consistent action at a time. Success isn't only about what you achieve, it's about who you become in the process. And one of the most powerful consistency gives you is self-trust. Every time you make a promise to yourself and keep it, you send a message to your subconscious that you are dependable. You prove that your word means something. Most people break promises to themselves without realizing the damage it causes. Each time they quit early or delay what they said they would do, they weaken their inner confidence. The mind begins to doubt its own power. But when you stay consistent, when you follow through even on small commitments, you rebuild that trust. You begin to feel a quiet confidence growing within you, the kind that doesn't need approval, doesn't need validation, and doesn't need applause. This inner trust is the foundation of unstoppable self-belief. When you've seen yourself show up over and over again, you no longer question your ability to finish what you start. You stop relying on others to motivate or validate you because you've become your own proof. You know that no matter how tough things get, you will keep going, because that's who you are now. Consistency transforms you from someone who hopes to succeed into someone who expects to. That shift is everything. You start walking differently, speaking differently, thinking differently. You no longer chase success. You attract it because your energy radiates certainty. Trusting yourself is one of the greatest powers a human being can develop. It makes you fearless because you no longer worry about what might happen. You know you can handle whatever comes. Consistency builds that kind of inner armor. Every time you stay disciplined when it's inconvenient, you reinforce your identity as someone reliable. And that reliability creates unshakable strength. You become calm under pressure because you've trained yourself to follow through regardless of circumstances. You stop needing motivation or luck. You move with quiet confidence, powered by a deep inner knowing that I can trust myself. That is the ultimate reward of consistency. Success may be the outcome, but self-trust is the transformation that makes you truly powerful. Excuses are the greatest enemies of consistency. They appear reasonable, logical, and even comforting, but they are silent thieves of potential. Every time you give in to an excuse, you strengthen the habit of hesitation. The mind learns to justify inaction. It starts building walls made of reasons, convincing you that you'll try again tomorrow, that you're too tired, too busy, or not ready yet. But tomorrow becomes next week, and next week becomes never. The truth is, every excuse is a delay in your destiny. Success doesn't wait for perfect conditions. It comes to those who move forward despite imperfection, despite doubt, despite difficulty. Excuses may protect your comfort, but they destroy your growth. The human mind is clever. It can rationalize anything to stay safe, and that's what excuses really are, a form of self-protection. Your brain fears change because change is uncertain. It RS failure, judgment, and discomfort, so it creates stories to keep you from taking action and don't have enough time. You'll start when things settle down. You're not ready yet, but behind every excuse is fear. Fear of trying and not succeeding. The moment you see excuses for what they truly are, illusions built to keep you comfortable, you regain your power. Consistency requires truth. It demands that you stop lying to yourself about why you can't and start focusing on how you can. Each time you act despite an excuse, you weaken its power. Every time you choose effort over comfort, you take back control of your mind. The voice of excuse gets quieter, and the voice of discipline grows louder. That's how you break free. It's not about never feeling resistance. It's about refusing to obey it. The more you practice this, the stronger your willpower becomes. You'll notice that your excuses begin to sound small compared to your purpose. You'll stop waiting for motivation and start moving with intention. The battle against excuses is an inner war, one that is fought in silence every day within your thoughts. And victory in this war is the birth of freedom. The moment you stop allowing excuses to dictate your choices, your life changes. You begin to move differently. You no longer react to your emotions, you lead them. You stop looking for reasons to wait and start creating reasons to act. Consistency is built in those quiet moments when you choose responsibility over comfort. Every time you say, "I shall do it anyway," you win another battle in the war for your potential. Excuses are lies told by fear. Discipline is truth spoken by purpose. The question is, which voice will you obey? At first, staying consistent feels like a struggle. It feels like you're forcing yourself to do what you don't want to. But if you stay with it long enough, something powerful begins to happen. Your effort transforms into identity. You no longer say, "I'm trying," you say, "This is who I am." That's the true reward of consistency. It changes the way you see yourself. It turns daily discipline from a task into a truth about your character. The person who once struggled to start now feels incomplete if they don't take action. The discipline that once felt forced now flows naturally. What used to require effort becomes effortless because it has become part of your identity. Identity is stronger than motivation because identity drives behavior without thought. When something becomes part of who you are, you no longer negotiate with yourself about whether you'll do it. You just do. You don't need reminders or external pressure. You've become your own system. This is what separates those who maintain success from those who lose it. They've made consistency part of their nature. They no longer depend on temporary energy. They operate from an internal standard. That's why they continue to rise even when no one is watching. Consistency, once practiced long enough, STOPS being something you do and becomes something you are. The transformation from effort to identity happens slowly. It begins with one small promise kept, one disciplined act repeated. Each time you stay committed, you tell your mind, "This is who I am now." Over time, your subconscious starts to believe it. The identity of procrastination fades, and the identity of persistence takes over. You no longer rely on willpower because your habits carry you forward. This is the point where success becomes automatic. The same consistency that once demanded effort now drives you effortlessly toward your goals. That's the secret behind every unstoppable person you've ever admired. Their consistency is not a strategy, it's a reflection of who they've become. They've trained their minds to see discipline not as sacrifice, but as self-respect. And once you reach that level, nothing can shake you. You no longer ask, "How long will it take?" because you've decided that you'll never stop. You've accepted that success is not a destination. It's a reflection of who you are every single day. And who you are is consistent, disciplined, and unstoppable. There will be days when you don't feel like doing anything. Days when your body feels tired, your mind feels heavy, and your spirit feels disconnected. You'll wake up and question the point of it all. You'll think, maybe today I can rest, or maybe skipping one day won't matter. But that's the trap. That one day slowly becomes 2, then 3, and before you know it, your momentum fades. The truth is, the days you least feel like showing up are the most important, because on those days, your discipline is being tested. Life isn't testing your skill, it's testing your commitment. When everything feels easy, anyone can be consistent. But when you push forward despite fatigue, despite doubt, despite boredom, that's when your character is built. Consistency is not about perfection. It's about persistence. Even when the progress feels invisible, even when the results don't match your effort, you keep going, because the process is shaping you in ways you cannot yet see. Every repetition, every step, every disciplined act is rewriting the story of who you are. You're no longer driven by emotions, you're driven by purpose. And the truth about purpose is this: it's not always exciting, it's not always motivating. Sometimes it's quiet, lonely, and repetitive. But that's what separates dreamers from doers. Dreamers wait for the right feeling. Doers act no matter how they feel. And with each act of persistence, you rise above your old self, the one who quit when things got uncomfortable. In time, those small acts of showing up become your armor. You start trusting yourself again. You begin to feel proud, not because everything is perfect, but because you didn't give up when it was hard. That pride turns into confidence. That confidence turns into momentum. And that momentum builds a life that cannot be shaken by emotion, fear, or failure. True power lies in showing up, not once, but every day, especially when you don't want to, because consistency in the storm creates strength that the calm could never teach. So the next time you feel like quitting, remember, that's not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of growth. It means you're stepping beyond your limits and your old self is fighting to hold you back. Keep going. Because every time you push through, you're proving to your mind that you are no longer the same. You are stronger, you are more focused, and you are unstoppable. There will come a moment when everything you've worked for begins to unfold, not because luck appeared, but because you refused to stop. That's the reward of consistency. It compounds silently. At first, it feels like nothing is happening. You repeat the same actions, face the same struggles, and it seems like progress is invisible. But beneath the surface, something powerful is taking place. Growth doesn't happen in the spotlight. It happens in the shadows, in the unseen hours when no one is cheering, when only you know the battles you're fighting. Every act of discipline is planting a seed, and one day those seeds break through the ground. That's when people call it success. But you'll know the truth. It wasn't one big moment. It was thousands of small ones. The reward for consistency is transformation, not just external, but internal. You begin to see the world differently. You stop chasing quick results and start trusting the process. You no longer seek validation because you've found something deeper, self-respect. You understand that real success is not measured by what you have, but by what you've become. You become calmer, more focused, more confident in your direction. Obstacles that once scared you now excite you because you know they can't stop you. They can only refine you. And that's when you finally understand the greatest victory wasn't reaching the goal, it was becoming the kind of person who could reach it. Consistency is more than a habit. It's a declaration of who you are. It's proof that your word means something, that your actions align with your vision. The world may not see every step, but it will feel the power of your persistence, because nothing can stop a person who keeps showing up day after day, long after motivation fades. The truth is simple. You don't need to move fast, you just need to move forward. Every day, every moment, one step closer. The slow path may seem unrewarding at first, but it's the only path that lasts. Greatness is not built in a moment of inspiration. It's built through years of consistent action. Stay patient, stay disciplined, and when the world finally notices, you'll realize you didn't need them to see it. You already knew who you were becoming.